Go right back to your phone calls dealing with the United Nations and Obama saying that they're going to restrict our guns because they feel like it. And then when we actually look at the treaty and point out that it restricts things, they go, no, it doesn't. We don't want your guns. When the UN has stated, and our own State Department has stated, in Memorandum 7277, that they want the civilian abolition of guns completely. And then our military and police, and that only a UN peacekeeper force, well, we know what that means, a murder force with the whole world disarmed, run by the bankers who got us into this mess, running around doing what they want. It is absolutely nightmarish. And now we have government-run health care coming into our lives, controlling the health care we get. Now they're saying, oh, yeah, you won't get that pre-existing condition covered. Oh, yeah, we're going to make you buy the health care and then cut the type of care you get. This is the model once they get you collectivized. Now government's telling you what you can eat, where you can live, what you can do. And they're just getting started. And it's the same system all over the world. But I'll tell you this, every time I go to a business meeting and park downtown and it's a valet, every one of them's a listener. Every time I meet neighbors, they're all listeners, and their children are listeners, and their neighbors are listeners, and their cousin's a listener. I took my kids out fishing to the lake this weekend, and I'm sitting there, and there's people out there fishing, and this group of people's listeners, and those are listeners, and these people are listeners. People are out of town are listeners, and their friends in California are listeners, and those are listeners. The point is, I'm not sitting there saying we have a lot of listeners. The point is, we're winning the info war. But everybody's like, I know it's bad. I know Romney's bad too. You know, what do we do? Thank God you're there. No. Thank God you're there. Call into talk radio. Start a website. Do YouTube videos. Say no to corruption. Go to city council. Get in the face of bureaucrats. Stand up to land grabbing. Call Congress and say, we know you're criminals and we know the U.S. is in a global government receivership. Don't sit there and beg them for stuff. Just say, look, we know you're criminals. And then people in media need to all stand up who've been controlled and are scared. Talk show hosts, you name it. And I'm hearing it more and more. Look, there isn't in a future if we don't beat these people. Have you figured that out yet? There isn't a future if we don't beat these people. It's all coming down right now. Okay? I mean, the battle lines are being drawn. And a lot of you think you're just going to sit it out and be safe, folks. This is a fundamental transformation of civilization under Agenda 21, which is a eugenics-based system. And if you don't know what that is, eugenics and Agenda 21, it's the global government system and law. It's what you live under. We're now under this. They're just mopping up the free speech, mopping up what's left. And there's a lot to mop up, by the way. Again, they're in control of the central government of every major country. They're looting them. They're wrecking them. They're engaged in every crime you can imagine, getting away with it as well. But it's a paradox where they're getting away with it, but they're losing their viewers. They're losing their support. They're losing their credibility. And the global bankers just hope they'll put in new politicians in Europe or the U.S. and you'll go, oh, and you know, think things have changed. People are looking past that now to the point of where CNN and MSNBC have to admit we've been captured by a world government, foreign bankers, but then they spin it like, well, you know, they do control us, so we better do what they say. It's like aliens sat down on the Washington Monument and said, we have come from the planet Pop-Tart. We are your rulers now. Do as we say or suffer the fate of Tokyo. And they hit a button and a space beam shoots down and disintegrates Tokyo. I am Zorg, mouthpiece of Graggle. Do as we say. Everyone goes, yes, Zorg. And I mean, literally, it's like Superman 2, kneel to Zod, and everyone kneels. I mean, what's going on here? They're now to the kneeling point in every financial publication going, world government is here, it runs everything, you're slaves to it, and you'll never have a standard of living again, and we're going to take over, and we're going to take your guns and take your private property and conscript your children into work brigades. The White House is openly announcing that. We played that clip last week. And I'm supposed to just sit here and go, oh, this is a wonderful idea. Or, Alex, don't get so upset. No. We need to get out of our coma. We need to get out of this daydream we're in, folks. It's like adults think they're getting away with something. Like, I screwed off a lot this week. I went to 2 baseball games, and I got drunk 4 times, and I went and did this and that, and I blah, blah, blah. I got an easy job. And Yeah, and that's why the globalists go, these are a bunch of chumps. Let's rob them. I mean, you think that's your birthright? You're all awake, you say. But you think I'm going to lead you out of something. Man, I can't even keep track of all their crimes, okay? I'm here risking my life because I understand it's the only future we've got. It's a gamble that we can beat these people. But there's no gamble that there's no future if we don't beat them. It's certain enslavement. It's certain death. Folks, this isn't just some tyranny that wants to be in charge. You understand what eugenics means? You better learn real quick, folks. You notice the cancer rates are off the charts, the neurological disorders and everything else. The U.S. leads the world in everything bad now. Folks, all the documents are public. This isn't just words. They put it in your food and water. They've done it to you since birth. They hated the land of the free, home of the brave. They were scared of us. We were going to be the example of human freedom and private property and guns and family and wealth. We had to be taken over and used to dominate the world while we were destroyed. We are the New World Order's greatest enemy. I'll use a movie analogy because it gets through to people. Emperor Palpatine hates Darth Vader, but he uses Darth Vader, and in the end, he wants to kill Darth Vader. America is Darth Vader, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to ask ourselves, is there any good left in us? That's a question you have to ask yourself right now. And as things get crazier and more obvious, you're either going to get more committed to the evil or you're going to wake up and say no to the tyranny. Let's go to one call, come back and take more. I kind of ran it during that segment. I still have a special report coming up. Frank in Louisiana, you're on the air, sir. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're on the air worldwide.
Yes, Alex, speaking of the UN, if you look at Black's Law Dictionary, the sedition, page 816, it'll tell you that the International Monetary Fund is an agency of the UN. Now, a lot of people know that the Federal Reserve is privately owned, but what they don't know is that the IMF and the Federal Reserve are flip sides of the same coin.
No, it's the European side, and the World Bank is the U.S. side. It's all on record. There's 11 major shareholders, and J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Bank of England, right on the line. And no, you're right. The UN is their global bankruptcy receivership arm. You can even pull up quotes where they say it. They don't even hide it.
Congressional record, not only will it tell you that the Federal Reserve has never been federal, of course, Lewis versus United States will tell you that, but the congressional record will tell you that these same banking families have usurped the government and have funded the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 and funded the former Soviet Union during the alleged Cold War.
No, they fund. It's all. What's incredible is they had congressional hearings. It's all declassified.
Yeah, type in the great patriotic Senator Louis McFadden, and then type in Congressman Charles Lindbergh Sr. That'll give you, that's just the beginning of it. See, since Congress...
Stay there, brother. I want you to, a minute or two more of history. We'll take more calls and get to Aaron Dyke's report on this. Think about it. The UN is saying they're over America now, and our military's been told they're under the UN. If you're a new listener, and you're like, man, why is this guy so upset? I don't know. I've got C-SPAN video, the House and Senate being told by generals that bugged their eyes out and smiled and acted like thugs out of a Goodfellas movie, that the United Nations now commands and controls our military. We're told that Obama's out giving a speech saying business creators and business owners get none of the credit for the success of the free market. I mean, we're in a radical transformation here. And it's, again, set up by a handful of banks that don't really loan people money. They create the fiat currency. They control the system. And their ideology is one of social Darwinism packaged under what you call neo-feudalistic serfdom with a eugenics-based cosmology. And they are radically accelerating the metamorphosis of our society worldwide. It's a global standardized system. Same names, same bureaucrats, same systems in Australia that's here or in England or in China. And it's a total conversion to tyranny. And they just throw it in your face. Everything. Posse Comitatus is being overthrown. They're injecting children all over the country with vaccines illegally. And they just say, we're doing it. Do what, try to stop us. Comes out every week that big vaccine makers know their vaccines actually have the measles, mumps, rubella in it. It's making you ill. It's killing you. Good. Gardasil, making you ill, killing you. Good. Another big company, GlaxoSmithKline, whole bunch of their products, doesn't even treat you, hurts you, or kills you. Just take their asthma drug. No benefit. It's not like it's cost benefit. No benefit. Deadly, they know it. They control the government. Anything they want's approved. Bayer knows every one of their factor 8 injections has HIV, hepatitis. 11 years, ships it out to everybody. And their corporate chiefs sat around laughing about killing people. I had a former J.P. Morgan managing director on who made the film The Greater Good that we sell at InfoWarsShop.com. And she talked about being, when she was at Goldman Sachs in a meeting with the head of a major pharma company that made over $7 million that year. And he said, I'm going to make a ton of money and kill a lot of people. He thought, and she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, vaccines. And then later she found, folks, this is what they do at that level. They sit around laughing how they're killing people. It's a real power trip how many kids they hurt, how many people they kill because they believe in killing us, reducing our numbers. Like the White House science czar has written 4 books saying poison the water and food. Don't let us know they're killing us. Take over healthcare so you can't get treatment, so government controls the treatment you're going to get. This is the name of the game. Let's go back to your calls. Frank in Louisiana, you were talking about the beachhead of 1913 of the Federal Reserve. It's all in the congressional record. And everything the old-timers warned us about 70, 80 years ago. We've seen the slow transformation of the U.S., this slow revolution. And now here we are with paramilitary police racing around everywhere, arming to the teeth feverishly, ready for the big win against the Republic.
That's exactly right. It's the planned genocide of the American Republic. They stated it. You see, the constitutional money clauses, which have never been repealed, command that only the Congress issue the currency interest-free owned by the American people. That was taken away subversively in 1913. Now, whoever issues the currency, these private diabolical banking families, that's who you're paying your tax to. And not only have they had untold trillions of dollars in interest, House Resolution 7837 will tell you they're tax-exempt and that money is known to be convertible in gold at par to IMF. And Fort Knox hadn't been audited in nearly 40 years. They're robbing this country blind with financial treason. Now, a lot of people know about the 16th Amendment, but what they don't know is what the Supreme Court said. That was the first and only time that the word income appeared in the Constitution and the word without apportionment, meaning heavy progressive income tax. The Supreme Court came out with numerous rulings and said that the 16th Amendment income tax applies only to corporations, period. How come Federal Reserve banks ain't taxed?
Well, because it's a setup where they're offshore, they're exempt from everything that they pass on us, and it's all a bunch of red tape, and as humans, we're designed to fight an enemy that's in uniforms. This is a corporate takeover. And they use big government to shut down their competition and give themselves contracts. Great points. God bless you, sir. Again, we're talking about the UN New World Order global government takeover by the banking cartels that they now are announcing. We're now so pathetic